Worcester, Massachusetts is one of the top 5 cities in the United States of America by the numbers of Lithuanians it has. And it has numerous interesting Lithuanian buildings. And I am talking to Romas Jakubauskas, who knows very much about all these buildings and their history. So the first question, Lithuanian district began from the St. Casimir Lithuanian Church.
Right.
So what is the history behind this church?
Well, the church was the main gathering place for people when it was built in the early 1900. The organizations all had a place to meet. People had to meet. They had 3 Lithuanian priests, so all masses were in Lithuanian. So it was like a center of Worcester activity of the Lithuanian community. And that continued all along. You know, the problem was that less and less Lithuanian youth went into priesthood. At the end, we only had 1 priest left. And people started, dying out, and youth started moving out of Worcester, so the parish shrank. But it still was the main center of activity, because on Sundays we had a Lithuanian 10 o'clock Mass, we had the Lithuanian choir. I sang myself in it. It was a joy. I liked singing.
Yeah, and we were told when the diocese closed St. Casimir Church, the Lithuanian community kind of disintegrated to some extent, as it was more difficult to meet other Lithuanians and share.
Well, what we did, February 16th celebration, June, what they call days when Lithuanians were taken to Siberia. We had all these commemorations under the church. The church had renovated the downstairs. It was a beautiful hall with a stage and everything. It was one of the best halls around from churches. And we would have the 10 o'clock Mass, and then the people after 10 o'clock Mass would go to the hall downstairs, and this is where the commemoration would take place. And on regular days, after the 10 o'clock Mass, the people would still go downstairs because we had coffee, cake, and donuts and stuff like that, so people would gather together, see their friends, because people got more prosperous. They moved to the suburbs, but everybody would come for the 10 o'clock Mass.
Yeah, and once the church closed, that disappeared. And
well,
that
what happened also,
2010, yeah.
The church had a bulletin, and they would put in all the news, what was happening into the bulletin, what kind of a function, what kind of organization was doing what. So people knew. So they knew, at Maironis they're going to have this or that. They knew what under the church would happen and all that. It was like also an information center,
And here we are sitting in Maironis Park, which is the secular Lithuanian organization, and the last one still surviving here in Worcester area. So how did this Maironis Park came to be, and what could be found here?
After the church was taken and closed, the only place left for the Lithuanians to gather is Maironis Park. So what happens, we had for a while Saturday school for little kids, because we had some new Lithuanians come after Lithuania regained its freedom, its independence. So, they wanted to have a place to teach their kids, to teach history, customs, and all that. And all the organizations that were still existed started having all their affairs here.
So this building is built in 1974. Yes, after a fire destroyed the older building here. Mm-hmm. And what about these works, which we can see here, like paintings of Lithuania?
Well, like I said, when we opened the building, because it was brand new, not only the Lithuanian organizations, but a lot of the American people rented the place, because it was a big hall, it was modern, it was brand new, so we became prosperous. So we said, well, but we're Lithuanian. So we have to show our inheritance, our roots. So we hired the artist from New York, Worcester. He came, he painted these pictures back in New York. Then he shipped them here. We had them framed, and they hung originally in the main hall.
Also, next to Maironis Park, there is monument for those who died for Lithuanian freedom.
The Lithuanian Freedom Monument was actually built by Šiauliai, which was a Lithuanian organization. It was in front of St. Casimir's Church. But when the church was taken, and St. John's, to raise money, who were the new owners of it, St. John's Parish, wanted to sell it, we made a bargain with them to move the monument here, because this was the only remaining Lithuanian facility.
Worcester also has two buildings with Vytis on their facades, the Lithuanian coat of arms. One of them is actually located near St. Casimir's Church and its former parish school, and another is a former Lithuanian men's club, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So what is the story of these two?
As St. Casimir's Parish grew, and it had a lot of Lithuanians belonging to it. These are the people that came during World War II and after World War II. They had children, and you had the St. Casimir nuns, which were founded in Chicago, I think in Illinois. The nuns' dedication was to establish Lithuanian schools for Lithuanian children. So I guess the parish got in touch with them, and they agreed to come to Worcester. A 3-decker, one of those wood buildings was bought to house the nuns, and land was bought, which was empty, and the school was built there, and this was St. Casimir's School. It had 9 grades, and when I came here, I was 11. I started in the 6th grade. My brother, same thing with my 2 other brothers, so we all went to St. Casimir's Grammar School, which was 9 grades.
And another building with Vytis is that of Men's Club, Lithuanian Men's Club. So what is its story?
The Men's Club basically was incorporated in 1908, but they rented their facility until they bought a building at Kelly Square. At Kelly Square, they had their clubhouse, they had a function hall, and the men would meet there, and for the longest time until the state took over the land to build a highway. So the whole place was demolished, and for the money they got and some of the other extra money they raised, they built a new facility in the same area, just higher up on Vernon Street, and that club existed until they sold it. Because as the membership decreased, it was too expensive to upkeep it, and they sold it, and for the longest time the men's club then moved over to the Veterans Organization, who had a clubhouse near Maironis Park, and they had their meetings there until the Veterans Organization closed and sold the place. And then the men's club moved here. They still had their meetings. They used to have a dinner here. They used to have their meeting once a month. And 4 years ago, they completely dissolved because the money that they had ran out.
I see. Lithuanian veterans indeed are well represented in the streets of Worcester. There are several crossroads that are named after Lithuanian veterans. And there is also a memorial for Lithuanian World War II veterans located near the second Lithuanian Church of Worcester. And this is pretty interesting because Worcester is the smallest New England city to actually have 2 Lithuanian churches within the official city limits. And so how it came to be that the second Lithuanian church, very Lithuanian in its design and named after Our Lady of Vilnius, was established?
The first Lithuanian emigres, whatever you want to call them, settled around St. Casimir's in that side of the city. But then people still kept coming, and A lot of them then moved out to South Worcester. South Worcester had more open land. They built their houses there. What they said, well, they didn't want to travel. They didn't want to drive, in those days. And they said, we need a second church. So in 1925, some land was bought, and it was a hillside overlooking actually Holy Cross College, and they decided to build a church there. They built a church there, and a lot of the people built single houses all around that church because all that land was open. And a lot of Lithuanians settled in that area, so that's how the second church came into being.
Indeed, and even the nearby street is actually named Gediminas Street, after a Lithuanian Grand Duke, which was especially important at the time as it was times before World War II, and at the time there was a huge conflict between Lithuania and Poland over who would rule Vilnius. Therefore, Our Lady of Vilnius Church has lots of Vilnius-related details. And even though many of these buildings are no longer controlled by Lithuanians, for example, this particular parish is now mostly Vietnamese, however, these buildings do survive, and anybody who visits Worcester may see Lithuanian history in its stones, while here in Maironis Park also a little bit of lived Lithuanian history. So I would like to thank you very much for this conversation and stories from Worcester Lithuanian heritage. And if you are interested in such stories of Lithuanian America, I invite you to follow this YouTube channel, while each of the exact locations of the buildings that we mention, all of them are available at map.lithuania.com, interactive map of Lithuanian heritage sites in North America.